directly from the tent of the BroomWagon Podcast. This is Over the Shoulder, a podcast about riding on mud, jumping on steps, hopping on planks, aka Cyclocross Fest. Hello everybody and welcome again to Over the Shoulder, your number 2 favorite podcast about the passion for mud and cold and jumps and cyclocross. I'm so happy to be here again today. The episode is just incredible. First of all, thanks a lot to everybody who has been enjoying this new mini-series coming directly from the powerhouse, the creative powerhouse, the creative power engine house of the BroomWagon Podcast. But also remember that these podcasts couldn't be possible without the help of Hunt Wheels. You know, right? Hunt Wheels was born exactly in the south of UK, and now they moved to Dresden to serve a bit better with the new branch, because still the main offices are based in the south of UK. The new branch, as I was saying, in Dresden, they are serving closely everybody in continental Europe, because everybody also here in Europe, continental Europe need some new progressive innovation on their wheels. Everybody knows that, right? You get a new bike and the first thing that you want to change are your wheels. Even if I have to say, talking about wheels, that the best improvement that you can do on your new bike, please get some high-level tires. Tires are the things that, they could be expensive, but in the full figure of a new bike is something that actually doesn't cost so much, but can give you way better feeling. And the same thing is actually with the wheels. You can have something way better, more aerodynamic, more planted on the floor, and more rigid. That can really make the difference. So just imagine yourself having something that I really would love to do close in the future. You know, right? That I'm in the market to sell my 2 bikes, my gravel bike and my road bike. That's what I was looking for. I have not been riding road for so much, but then you can get actually something that is capable of doing the both of things and just 2 pair of wheels, and then your experience on the bike would change completely. Or just having just 1 pair of wheels and do everything. This is, for example, the Hunt 40 millimeters is called Limitless Aero Wheel Set. Do you really need something else? I think that with the same pair of wheels you can do everything you want, and that's super nice. And remember that actually as soon as you want to have more information or just you have some doubts, you can just contact the awesome people at Hunt Wheels, and they're gonna actually check with you and give you all the support that you need. And thanks a lot, talking about support, to Hunt for supporting the Over the Shoulder podcast. I have to say thanks as well to Little James Arnold, who made the awesome animation that you can still see on my Calamaro CC, on the BroomWagon Podcast, on the Little James Arnold, and on the Hunt Road Instagram account as the launch of this miniseries. That's super incredible. If you have any suggestions, you know what you have to do. I already mentioned all my accounts, but now let's talk about cyclocross, shall we? I met Adeline a bunch of years ago, still digitally. Unfortunately, not in person yet. But I was preparing this episode with Adeline Moreau about periods and bikepacking. And because actually Catherine was just launching a new feature on bikepacking.com. Yes. And then I made an interview with her and I said, okay, can you send me some photos to make my launch on social media and everything? And then Catherine said, why don't you just talk with Adeline? She made amazing illustrations on the article. And then I contacted Adeline. Since then we have been actually in contact on social media. But then when I pitched her the fact, because I know that she's super passionate on cyclocross, I pitched her this podcast, actually mini-series, she enthusiastically said, call me in. Well, Adeline, you are in. It's so incredible that actually today we are kicking off this thing. And actually, we needed a cyclocross specific mini series to make it happen. What do you think, Adeline? And I'm going to misspell your name, surname, everything. I think it's Adeline, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's awesome to have a cyclocross focused podcast because I don't think cyclocross gets the credit it deserves sometimes. It still goes a bit under the radar, doesn't it?
It is. It is. And that's exactly the thing that I was thinking. That's not a podcast about myself. I need to actually interview Adeline. But the point is that last year's season of the podcast was really completely freestyle. I mean, if you imagine something freestyle, that's what it was. Because of personal reasons, because of many things, I didn't get a proper planning. And then this season I started and I said, you know what? I want to do something a bit more, I would not say organized because I'm not the kind of organized person. I'm too messy to be organized, but I wanted to have some topics. And cyclocross was exactly the thing that I thought is not enough in the media. I listen to different podcasts actually on cyclocross, but it's only pro cyclocross, comments on the race. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. But it's really what I wanted to express on the BroomWagon? No. So I said, okay, I can do something out of it. By the way, the title of it, Adeline, I don't know if I told you yet, but it's Over the Shoulder.
Nice.
So that's Over the Shoulder. I think it's all right. I wanted to call it Off Camber, but probably it was too pretentious. So Over the Shoulder, I think it's okay. We know that we are in a walking pace, though, so it's nice. And Over the Shoulder is exactly this, talking about passion, community, nice things on cyclocross. So that's why you are here. I mean, when I had to think about cyclocross and I think about actually social media things or whatever, the thing that keep me engaged a lot is exactly stories from hobbyists, amateurs, what do you want to say? Not, of course, Elise bit of the bunch. Talking about really people like cyclocross. And that's what we are doing today.
But you pick the worst example of the pro peloton. He's the least relatable one.
I know. It's. I mean, let's talk about. Shall we talk about Elise a bit? Maybe should not. But the point that I wanted to make here, exactly. The point that I want to make it is exactly that. I mean, is a pro cyclocross. He does only that. I mean, also Lars van der Hart does the same, or many others. I don't know, Pin Ron Har or whoever. But actually, Elizabeth does it forever. It's still there. It's still battling. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about it because I would have probably something not shareable to say. We're going to close the recording and talk about that. Anyways, I'm happy that Elizabeth is there. Anyways.
Yeah. And then there's all the other people that don't make it on the TV. And I guess that's who you want to talk about today.
Yes, absolutely. That don't make it on the TV or they just go. Because that's another thing that I was telling you offline. I just want to understand, Adeline, why everybody from, in this case, the Wout van Aert to the Stefanos that are coming out from a bicycle cyclocross race, everybody of them says straight off the mouth, it was so much fun. I would love to understand why is that. And I think that actually you are a good person to say that.
Yeah, I think it's been many years since I started cyclocross. And I was trying to figure out why I keep going back to it. And I think, there's an amazing, it takes a special kind of person, I think, to do cyclocross. You need to be a little bit off your rocker. And I think when you're this kind of person and you find your family, then that's what brings you back all the time. All these other folks of all the different ages, all the different levels of fitness, whatever, all these different jobs. You just come together because you just like doing this really silly thing on the bicycle. And then, every week you see the same people again because all the races are relatively short and there's races after races after races. You can race and then support the rest of the people. And so it's much less of a isolated event. It's really good for connecting with other people because the races are short and it's all in the same place. So you all come together in this field, you do your race, and then you support for the race, and it's just a bit of a party, no?
Absolutely. I think that this is one reason. Also on the other side, maybe that's something that we're going to discuss and talk about at a certain point. But on the other side, it's a big group of people. That's what you were saying as well. I mean, usually it's a circuit, right? Not only the circuit itself of one race, but it's the circuit, something like the group of races. So you are keep on meeting with the same people all the time. And then also, if you are a rider, racers, beforehand you have also the training rides and everything, and then you can really familiarize and connect with everybody, also people that are participating in other categories and stuff. You can do the things together, and then small, I don't want to say tribes, but small groups of people, small communities are building inside of a bigger community. And yeah, I mean, how should you say that? You need to be a weirdo. Let's go on the right direction to do a race of cyclocross, but there are different nuances. So
Yeah, it's definitely a sliding scale of weirdos that you find at the cross races.
yeah. But that's exactly the thing that I mean, because you are there all together, you're riding together, you're racing together, but still, I don't know. I feel as well. It depends, of course, but I feel as well that it's a quite respectful bunch on each other, and that's also another super cool thing.
Yeah, I think it's quite a good leveler as a sport, because it doesn't. Well, okay, there's two things to that. I think people say it's easy to get into cyclocross. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that, but once you're into cyclocross, you're in this muddy field trying to stay upright most of the time, and you get you eat shit, you just crash, you try your best, you get completely dropped by everyone else, whatever. And in that moment in time, everyone's in the same puddle of mud, so it's really a nice equalizer. But then, when I was saying, I don't know if I believe that it's easy to get into cyclocross. I think it's quite intimidating, and in certain areas, it's a bit of a race of equipment. People love to have good bikes and good tires and whatever, and that can be, I think, quite a difficult barrier to overcome.
Yeah.
It can be a bit intimidating. You rock up to the cross race, everyone, there's all these big people come with their vans and their two bikes and stuff, even at the local races here in the UK. So it's a bit whoa.
Yeah, absolutely. But also on the other side, in terms of equalization and then equalizers, talking about really the hobbyists that are riding mountain bike, cyclocross at the moment, I believe that actually with the boom that's gravel bikes, not adventure cycling or whatever, really gravel bike as a bike itself in the industry, this actually got a use as well on
exactly.
on the cyclocross. So that actually, for people that are really passionate on that, and they have actually, I don't know, a whatever brand gravel bike that they have at home, they now think as well, okay, I can even go and race in the mud.
Yeah. And in Britain, really, there's no gravel in the winter. It's all mud anyways. So
Exactly.
might as well go to the local cross race and meet some friends.
Yeah, and that just ride for 1 hour and that's it. Instead of going out embarking, I don't know, I have 2-3 hours gravel ride full of mud, and no, it's not good.
Yeah, I think another element of why cyclocross is so much fun is the bike riding itself. It's for me at least, such a good combination of fitness and being able to dig deep, but also really learning to dance on your bicycle and think about the lines you're going to take, how you're going to go around that corner. Is it quicker to run? Pedaling round whilst braking, so you keep traction and so on. There's I think it's a bit like a dance. And when it goes well, it feels so good. The potential for stuff to go wrong is quite high, obviously.
Of course.
When you can stitch it all together and you go around the lap and you're like, shit, I just had a really good lap. That just feels so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good thing. But that's something that I wanted to ask you, actually, Adeline. This could also be a barrier, isn't it? Because, I mean, the average cyclist or whatever goes on the road, of course, a bit of gravel, whatever it is. But then you don't really need to be a cyclist. You don't really need so many technical skills. But as soon as you jump into the field for your first, second, whatever encounter with cyclocross, then really the techniques of riding your bike, I mean, you have been slammed in your face directly by that, right? Could not be actually a bit intimidating to do the first race on that, because I mean there are so many things stupid things. And the first thing that comes into my mind, go down and go up from your bike when you have to walk or run. This could be the easiest thing in the world if you do it at not at the racing pace. Could be a bit sketchy if you're doing it with somebody actually chasing you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, and when you try to get back on your bicycle and you actually land on your tire, there's nothing worse.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. But, I think what's really lovely is cyclocross forces you to be playful. You can't be too serious. And you just I think that if providing you get into that mindset, you can do anything in a cyclocross course because there's no rules. Well, yeah, there are, but you can walk whichever section you don't feel like riding. And the race itself is actually, we like to think we're fast, but everything's going quite slowly.
Yeah.
So it's not like you will be abandoned by the side of the road and never seen again. You can walk the section you can't ride, and you can challenge yourself at the next lap. And I think, but I completely agree, it can be quite intimidating. You see this big mud pit, you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do there? But I think, through the race, you see what other people are doing, what lines they might be taking. And you just, I guess, if your attitude is to give, like, I'll give it a go, see what happens, then you're going to be fine. You will love cyclocross.
Yeah. I wanted to tell you two things on that. Actually, you said you have to allow yourself to be playful. I mean, I would actually put, and that's something that, it's Stefan's opinion, that I would say that you have to allow yourself to be goofy. And that's the best thing that you can be in a world like this, when it seems like everybody is trying to show how cool, perfect, straightforward planner and knowing what you're doing person is. With cyclocross, you can know whatever what you're doing, but you can also don't know what you're doing. But I think that more or less the result is the same. So
you have to. And I think, especially, I think when we're little, we don't really have that problem. But when we're grown-ups and, you and I in our middle age, where you're supposed to have your life under control and have a proper job and whatever, it's really hard to allow yourself to suck at something. We're kind of expecting that we have to be good at stuff in order to do it. But that's not, that doesn't work. You have to be a beginner at some point, don't you? And so you have to accept that you're going to suck at it, but it's going to be fun anyways.
Yeah.
And then you learning something, the process of learning is so much fun. It can be so rewarding, can't it? You're scared of doing that one descent. The first time you might be running it down, and then the second time you see someone going down, you're like, oh, okay, maybe that's how I do it. And then the third time you do it and you're like, ha!
That's true. No, it's so incredible. Yes, that's absolutely a good thing. And I think that actually another glue on the community, talking about glue when we're talking about cyclocross and mud is not the best, but another good, I know it, another secret sauce of cyclocross, that's bad, even there talking about mud, is anyways the thing that you were saying. So basically you are learning from the others, and you're actually also trying to figure things out together with the others. Lines, or I don't know, we were talking about actually when to jump off and when to jump on the bike, or just maybe bunny hopping or whatever. That's something that you are learning together with other people, or you're just putting together the experiences, let's say, and by copying each other, or just by discussing quickly, what do you think about that corner? Should I take the upside or the downside? In that way, you are learning, and that's why you are then, when you finish the race, even during the race, you can cheer each other because there are a lot of sharp corners. But then after the race, you think, you know what? This technique went super well. You know what? That tip was amazing. And then you can really start having fun together, cheering to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, so for me, one of the big reasons I became so obsessed with cyclocross and I love it so much is because when I got into it like 10, 12 years ago, I had a really nice group of friends who got into it at the same time. And so we would go into the races, but then in the week we'd meet up before work in the park and play around for a bit and chase each other and take the cones and stuff. It's a bit of a nerdy way to spend your morning, but it was so good because everyone was in, it was the blind leading the blind. None of us knew what we were doing, but we'd give it a good crack. And then over time, from practicing and having fun and just being silly on the bicycles, then you just learn, you learn so much. It's such a fun in such a fun way.
Absolutely. Yeah, you actually, I mean, at the end of the day, you are engaging with, for sure, with your body and everything, because you were saying you are dancing on the bike, you're using muscles that you never used on the bike most of the time, but also your brain, because you need to
Yeah.
think so in the moment, because I mean, that's what it is, because you need to react to what's happening and you cannot control. But on the other side, you also are supposed to plan on something. And that's always super good.
Yeah, that's true. And the what you just said about you're in the moment, that's also another thing for me. That's why cyclocross is such a big part of my life. I've got a really busy brain and I get quite asked out and stuff. But when you're on your cross bike, there's like in the bike race, you can't afford to think about anything else.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of a forced bit of mindfulness or something, you could almost say. Like the only thing that exists is the present moment
Yeah.
and the next corner. And that's, well, for me, that's a really big part of staying sane in this world.
Yeah.
You get this 1 hour of respite, I guess. It's a bit rich to call it respite because it is hard and you're like breathing through a tiny little needle. But yeah, it's a really nice break from everything else.
That's nice. Adeline, we need, I think, to step 1 second back, because we started straight from the start talking about the most important things in cyclocross, but probably, or there is the possibility that people don't know you.
Yeah, I guess so.
So if you can give a couple of words on you, would be amazing, even if I think you understood already. Super passionate person on cyclocross that can talk cyclocross forever. That's something,
Yeah,
right?
Talk cyclocross forever. Okay, my name is Adeline Moreau. I'm a cyclocross mega fan based out of the UK. I have been racing cyclocross for about 10 years, maybe. And I like to think I am the most enthusiastic cyclocross supporter in the land.
Can you actually give us exactly an example of that?
Move up, Stefano!
That's exactly what I meant. There is anything else that you want to ask to tell us actually in this way?
A motorbike, Stefano, you're a motorbike!
I mean, I can tell you next time I need probably to come over to UK and make a race just because I want to be supported by you.
Yeah, I think it's a love-hate relationship. Yeah, I think, well, yeah, for me, cyclocross is like my chosen family. I just love to go. The people that I meet there, they're awesome. I find so much inspiration, and especially the women that I race with. It's just, yeah, I don't think there's anything else like cyclocross in my life. If you're not into cyclocross yet, you need to ask yourself some questions.
Okay, that's super nice. That's super nice. Then I need to ask you that question, the question, how everything started.
Yeah, so what's quite funny about my cyclocross life is that I'm Belgian, and obviously Belgium is the motherland of cyclocross.
Yes.
But I am from Wallonia, and I had no idea cyclocross even existed before I was in the UK.
Okay.
So I think maybe over 10 years ago, I moved to London and got a bike, started commuting to work, whatever. The same story as everyone else. One thing led to another, riding all the time. And there was probably a cross race happening at Hun Hill Velodrome in London, which is this amazing hub. And because of that, they put on some training sessions. And there was in particular one like women only training session, introduction to cyclocross. They had cyclocross bikes there that you could borrow.
Oh, nice.
So my friend Claire and I think, rocked up to that session, and it was so funny. And I guess then from that point on, I didn't really look back. After that, I bought like That was so dumb. I bought a cantilever touring bike
Love
on
it.
eBay.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I've got a cross bike now. It fit like 22 mil tire, no, 32 mil tire
Okay,
maximum,
better. Yes.
not 22.
I mean, 22 and 23 is more or less the same, so it's all right.
No, 32,
32 and
slightly more
33.
reasonable.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, and so then after that, so the following year, the Rafa Cafe in London was putting on some cyclocross rides, and again, there was like a couple of women-specific ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going to those and really enjoyed it. And then the season that followed, I went to a cross race. I have to say, the year with the cross rides, I tried to go to my first cross race.
Okay.
And it was happening somewhere in London, and I decided to ride from my house to the bike race. And I got so lost, and my phone ran out of battery.
Oh my God.
And then by the time the race was supposed to start, I did not know where I was. And so, yeah, I ended up eventually finding my way back home. But I completely failed going to the bike race. And I think it was the last one that season. So then I had to wait a whole 8 months or 10 months, whatever, to do it for the first time. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so basically it was like everything, right? I mean, I would say by chance, but that's what it is. You crash into that, if we can say that.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think I'm very much a yes person when it comes to trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that was, when there was the option to go and try out this cyclocross thing, it was like, yeah, I'll try that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, one thing led to another, and here we are.
No, that's nice. And where are we now? So we're talking about 10 years ago, and so I think there was kind of, I don't want to say an evolution, but a progression.
Yeah, I think there was. So I was in my mid-20s when I got into cyclocross, and I wasn't sports as a young person, so I guess that was pretty new to me. I really loved the theater when I was little.
Okay, yeah.
And like doing theater was my thing. And then, so I find cyclocross in my mid-20s. By that point, it's already too late for me, Steph. I'm never going to make it.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. When I think about it now, I'm so pleased that I found the sport at a time in my life where I could never really make it into a bigger thing than it is, if you see what I mean. Like, I'm not delusional. I know where I stand in the pecking order.
Yeah.
But so I guess I raced for a little bit with my local cycling club, Brixton. And then I got into one of our little local teams in London called the Fifth Floor. And then after that around that time is when I started building bicycle frames. And in that period of my life, then I started the Good Vibes Only team.
Yeah.
Built some bikes for the four of us, and we were hitting the local circuit in the National Trophy Series, which was awesome, so much fun. And then I guess probably then COVID came around and like kind of turned everything a little bit upside down. There was a big gap in the bike racing. All the people from the team moved on with their lives a little bit. They had families and maybe moved abroad and so on. And then after COVID, when the bicycle racing started again, I started racing as well. And at that time, I took it quite seriously. So I tried real hard to be as good as I could. And then, I had my best season to date, which, just to put it in context, isn't, I'm not a pro. I got maybe 13th at the national trophy here in the UK.
Yeah.
I went to Belgium to try and do a few races. I was always at the back of the grid.
Of course. Yeah.
Last one called up and stuff. But I gave it everything. I gave it my best shot. But I was doing it alone kind of thing. I didn't have a team,
kind of a privateer.
Or a club really.
Yeah.
But I think that really it's not so much about having material support that I missed. It's more to have my crew.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And so that was quite draining period of time racing like that. My partner at the time was helping me, and he was racing as well, so that was quite nice. But then going to Belgium by yourself when you're really at the bottom of the food chain is quite tough. You need to have quite thick skin, I think.
Absolutely.
And then after that season, my life was quite tricky for a couple of years, and I stopped racing for a while. I think maybe I've missed 2 seasons or something like that. And this year, or this cross season just gone, I made a little comeback, I suppose. I had joined Mike Speed Racing just after that season I was talking about. And then unfortunately, I didn't race with them until September, I think, this year. You know, I started doing some of the summer series with them and stuff. And then I think in the spring last year, it's like, do you know what? I think I'm ready. I want to race again. I want to race, and I want to race the Three Peaks. I don't know if you know about the Three Peaks. It's this incredible event we have here in the UK.
Yes.
And this September just gone was going to be the 60th anniversary of the Three Peaks. And I had done it already 4 times in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm ready to do it again. I want to do it. It's the 60th anniversary. I want to be a part of that. So I started riding a bit more, trying to get fit again for the Three Peaks. And I just, I didn't really have big expectations of myself. I wanted to do as well as I could, but mostly for me, it was about finding out if I still have the love for it. Because I had a couple of tough years and I couldn't really love the bike racing. I didn't really enjoy riding my bike. And so it was really like, okay, let's see. And I had the best day ever at the bike race. I had so much fun. It was so nice to see everybody. It's such a stupid bike race. You know, you're out there in the hills for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Carrying the bicycle up and then kind of seeing your life flash before your eyes on the descents. Like, this is really, really dumb.
Yeah.
But it was like, I had the best time. And obviously, having prioritized having fun on the bike all the spring and summer paid off, because I got a 3rd place, which I could have not dreamt of a better result. And so after that, I was like, I'm back, baby. Love bike racing.
Yeah, it's nice.
And so this year, this cross season, I did a few local leagues and a few national trophies. And then in December, we went to Belgium with a few of the lads from the team and did a few races there. I think, I look back through all the years I raced, and this year I think was the best fun. I wasn't as fit or as prolific, and I didn't win as much as I did that year when I really gave it everything. But actually what I had this year is just like the love for the sport. Such a good crew, just so happy to be there every weekend, getting like cold and muddy, and just I completely forgot what your first question actually was.
No worries. Keep on. No worries. Keep on.
And so, now the season is finished.
Yeah.
And it's, it's like you're going to quit when you're ahead kind of thing. I'm like, I don't feel like I went past the point of having fun.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen with cyclocross because it's quite, it's quite tiring. And if you race every weekend and you're out in the cold and stuff, it's quite draining. You're trying not to get sick, But I think I really hit the right balance of racing enough that I felt really good and I felt like I could have some good results and I could see people on the regular and stuff, but also not taking it too seriously that I end up feeling stressed out. And so, yeah, when the cyclocross season finished this year, I was like, perfect. I just had the best time. This was exactly what I wanted that I didn't know I wanted.
Nice, super nice. And if I can ask you, because I mean, just to put everything into context, context, yes. I always make a mistake with context and contest. No, it's context.
Context.
Context. Just to put everything into context. What kind of races do you do? So you have a license. What kind of category, if we can put it into category? And I'll start from the point that I know nothing about categories.
I don't know what it's like in other countries. I only know in the UK. So I'll tell you about the UK.
That's perfect.
So in the UK, you can find bike races, local bike races in almost every region. They're grouped in like what we call local leagues. My local league is the Western League, and that encompasses races around Bristol, Bath, the Forest of Dean and so on. So all the geographic region around me. And that's the kind of entry level bike racing. If you don't want to race, there's kind of go race events, I think, that are kind of non-competitive things that you can take part in. I'm really competitive, so I know.
Of course.
I never did those ones. So you've got the local league is your first kind of level of competitive cycling, cyclocross wise. And then there's the national trophy, which is UCI racing, so kind of the elite level. And in the UK, there's nothing in between the two.
Okay.
Which is, probably not great.
Okay.
But so you've got the local leagues and then you've got the national trophy. And I've been racing in both for this season and the many seasons before. And then comparing that to Belgium, for example, which is where we went in the Christmas period, you have the local racing, and then you have the B Cross, which is a higher level of racing, but it's not governed by the UCI. Okay. It's not the top level of the sport. And then you have the UCI races, and then you have the World Cup races.
Yes.
And that's kind of the pyramid, I think, of competitive cycling. And so I would say the local, like, I think in Britain, we're missing this kind of bit in between the local level and the national trophy, maybe. But to be honest, like, there's lots of racing. There's enough for everyone to get stuck in. But it is, I think it can be quite intimidating to go into the national trophies.
Yes.
Like, the jump between the two can seem a bit frightening, which is why I think if there was something like a little platform to jump on in between the two, it would be quite good. But yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfectly. So you basically race on the both of them. I have two questions still on that. But how does it work actually to go from the UK, so the British League, to go actually from the local races to the national races? You have to collect some points, or you can just go there, subscribe, and say, okay, I'm going to start.
You can just sign up. So you need to have a racing license in order to sign up. Which is, I can't remember. I think it is, you buy it through British Cycling, but so in order to do the national trophy, you need to have a race license.
Okay.
But other than that, there's not that much else you need to do. In the women's field in particular, there's room for up to 100 riders, and there's never 100 riders. So I don't think British cycling has ever been in the situation where they had to say no to people because they're not ranked high enough or whatever. So yeah, at this moment in time, all you do is sign up.
Okay. And what about in the Belgian races that you have done? How does it work to be there? And what kind of races have you done?
Yeah, so I'll just use the example of when we went in December.
Yes, perfect.
We did 3 races. The first, on the Saturday, we did a local league race. The league is called LCR or something like that. And that is so funny. It's great. So it was basically on a farmyard, but Um,
Nice.
they brought this big beer tent truck thing.
Yeah, of
They're
course.
playing, it's the village thing, but they're playing techno and serving beer and whatever.
It's the classic in cyclocross, isn't it? Belgian.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so there's something for everybody, You can go there if you're a wannabe champion and race as hard as you can, or you can be there if you just want to have a beer or 10 with your friends.
Yes.
And so, so that's kind of the local league. And in there, like we were going round this farmyard. I'm pretty sure we were going through a slurry pit at some point. You should always keep your mouth shut if you can.
You said actually you don't want to get sick. That's one of the ways to get sick in cyclocross.
Depending on your dietary requirements, you might want to be careful.
Yeah.
And so, so that's kind of the local level. The racing, the circuit is a bit more freestyle. It's not a super serious environment, but people race their butts off. Like it's really funny. In that race, it was hilarious. They built this kind of like a bridge with scaffolding. It was probably done by the local like builder's yard or something. Okay. There was the kiddie race before our race. They put 2 people either side of the bridge to catch the kids if they started rolling back down.
I love it.
There was a guy under the bridge that was tightening some bolts as this was happening. It's like, first, safety third. And so, so that's the kind of lower level racing. I feel bad calling it lower level because it's really good racing, but it's kind of the entry level.
Yes.
And then there's B cross. I think that's what it's called. But that's then you turn the serious dial a notch. And so for that one, so the previous one, LCR, LRC, you just rock up and pay €5, I think, whatever. Then for the B cross, you sign up online through Cycling Flanders, and they kind of either accept you or don't accept you.
Okay.
And you've got this Cycling Flanders website, and you have your dashboard, and then you have the race and a little light. It's either orange whilst you're waiting to hear, or then it turns green or red. If it turns green, you're good to go. If it's red, you can't go.
Okay. And you need a license for that or not?
I think when you race I think you need a license. And as a foreign rider, you need to have a little letter from British Cycling to say, these people are allowed to race in Belgium and they have indemnity cover for this amount of money provided by BC.
Okay.
So that one's a bit more serious, but it's not as serious as you might think. You sign up in this weird like village hall. You can have a cup of coffee. You can have some snails if that's what you like to eat before a bike race. I would not personally advise for it, but
have you had it?
Maybe I've had snails a long time ago. I don't.
Yeah, but not before the races. Okay.
Not before the race. Although garlic butter is delicious.
Oh yeah.
But maybe not before a really hard effort.
No. I mean, no. I don't want to go into detail on that because of the people listening, but I know what you mean.
Anyways, so in there, this becomes a bit more serious. People come up, have 2 bicycles. You have someone in the pits to help you. You better hope that your pit support has got sharp elbows, because these Belgian pit people, they're quite scary. Yeah, you have to force your way through to give your bicycle to the racer, and but so that is a little bit more serious. And then the level up from that would be UCI C2, I guess, and that can be something like, I don't know, like a Bad Karma trophy or something along those lines. And then C1 is more serious yet, and then World Cups. So for the UCI races, they will prioritize people that have UCI points.
Okay.
And then people that have Belgian, I think, classifications. and then everybody else.
Okay.
So this, whilst you can race almost any local or B cross race,
Okay.
you might not get in the UCI races. So we went to Mole Super Prestige,
Oh,
which
yes.
is race on the sand. And I think out of the few of us, I got in. I was the only woman there anyways, the only woman in our trip. And then the lads, I think 2 guys didn't get in and 2 guys got in.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's kind of based on, your rankings and the team you're a part of and stuff like that.
It was such an amazing trip then, this Christmas time for you.
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
Tell us more about that.
And so you know how I said earlier, I'm kind of a yes person. The Scotty who runs the team, the Max P team, and Dan were planning on going on a trip. They were like, "Oh, we're thinking of going to Belgium. Do you want to come?" Like, yes. And so so it was Scotty, Dan, and Tom from our team, and then Robin, who's another friend from another team. We all went together with our pit people. It was like we all jumped in everyone's van, drove over to Belgium, stayed at little motel, and then went to the first race, had an amazing day, super day out. Ended up having to stay there for ages and ages because Scotty and I both got on the podium, and they wait until the whole day is finished to do the podium. So everyone is blind drunk, not us, but all the supporters. We won. We didn't really know what was going on because it's all in Flemish and none of us speak Flemish. But we won like bottles of wine, I'm pretty sure. And then go back to the motel, clean all the bikes in the parking lot, go and eat lots of pasta at like 9:30 p.m, do a bit of stretching in the room, try to wash your kit in the bath, hope that it's dry for tomorrow, and then do it again the next day. So drive up to the next race, go to sign on, get your number, go back to the van, pin your number, try to warm up, try to understand what's going on. Where's the course? When does it start? Where's the start line? And then you race. I'm really lucky that usually the women's race is before the men's elite.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to stand on the side and look at them go through this ordeal before I do mine. I go first and then I can relax.
Yeah, that's nice.
So it's really cool. So then, I raced. I almost immediately crashed that day. But it was, it's muddy, so I didn't really hurt myself. I just got a little bit like, oh, I won't be taking that line again. And then there was a hailstorm, so that sucked. It was quite cold. But then, the guys are around the course and like, come on, Adeline, like, dig in, come on. So you have to comply. You just have to do what they say. Just ride as hard as you can. And then it was the turn for the guys to go. So then I went to the pits to help. And that's where actually being quite small is quite helpful because all these pit people from Belgium, they're like giants, and I could just sneak in like between them so help the guys in the pits when they were racing, give them a few encouragements, some slightly abusive screams. What you have to know when you're on the side of a cross race trying to support your friends is some people respond better to positive encouragements. Go on, you're doing really well, whatever. And other people respond much better to being yelled at. To move up, fucking run for it. You have to strike the right balance. In this instance, the guys, they respond better to abuse, so that's good. That's where I come to shine.
Exactly. Okay, nice.
And then, same again. Pack everything, clean everything again, clean everything in the bath. Like, try to stretch. By this point, you're starting to feel quite tired. And then we kept the best one for last. So we went to Mole Super Prestige with 2 days of racing in the legs. the first two races were so muddy. Like it really makes you really tired in quite a like sleepy way, I think, for me, when the races are muddy. And then we rock up to Mo. There's the people at the gate. They're like, what are you doing here? They can tell that we're just like a bunch of idiots in a van. Like, oh, we're here for the elite race. And like, without contract, yeah? I'm like, yeah, no, we don't have a contract. They send us to the very back of the parking lot, like hidden away. You drive through this parking, you've got Matthew Van Der Poel with his buses and his Lamborghini and his army of fans. And then you have, like, as you drive through, the stars become less and less important. And then you get to the back of the parking where it's us and then a bunch of other people that are just there kind of for shits and giggles, I guess, or, one person operation from the back of a van and that kind of thing. And then, but, like, I think that's so cool that in cyclocross, someone like me, like a really overly excited enthusiast, can, providing that I can ride my bike okay, I can go to the bike race with the best in the world.
Yes.
And experience like these incredible courses that are, so unique, so kind of different to what we get in the local league, and have, ride through all the supporters and stuff. It's insane. I don't know of any other sport where someone can do that. So that's what I was trying to remind myself when we got to Mole, and I was quite intimidated. I was quite stressed. And then, you like do a little recce ride, see a bit what the course is all about and stuff. We're always running behind schedule. We're always late. So there's never enough time to do everything that we want to do. Anyways, warm up, go to the start line. And then when the light goes green, I just raced as hard as I could. We had, there were people in the pits. The pits in Mo is great because it's in the middle of two big sand sections. And riding and running in sand is a bit heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's so slow. It's so hard. But you get to enjoy the full support of your pit crew for the entire length of it. So that was really nice. And when you're racing at a UCI level, at some point, it's called the 80% rule. And I don't really understand what 80% of what, I don't know. But what it means is that if you're at risk of being lapped by the leaders, they take you off course so you don't cause an accident or whatever.
Okay.
And so I think for me, when I go to a big race like that, my only goal is to ride as hard as I can until I get 80%ed, which might be after 20 minutes, half an hour, don't know. So I raced as hard as I could. I was like, I'm going to get pulled this lap, but I didn't. So I had to do a whole other lap before I eventually got pulled. I didn't finish with the leaders, but so by the time I finished, I was like, thank God for that. And then as soon as it's finished, whilst you're racing, it's like tunnel vision. It's quite like, it's hard. You're pushing as hard as you can. And then as soon as it's finished, you catch your breath and you're like, that was amazing. But there's no time to sit around. You just have to run back to the van, get changed, run back into the pits and help the next guy.
Yes.
But, at this point, like I said, that's where I come to shine. And what's amazing is I've done it before them. So I can be like, stop being such a wuss. Come on, move on. And they can't be like, oh, you give it a go. Because I'm like, I do it already, mate.
Oh, nice.
And then, so then we finished off that bike race. The guys, Scotty and Robin, got lapped by Matthew Van Der Poel on TV. So that was a highlight.
Nice. I mean, 50 minutes.
It didn't cause him to crash. So that was quite funny. And then jump back in the van, drive to the tunnel, drive back to the UK. And just like that, the cyclocross holiday is over.
But I mean, you packed a lot of experience or fun for sure.
Yeah. And I couldn't have done an extra day.
You said then 3 races.
Yeah. 3 races back to back. I think, you see the pros, they do so many bike races over the course of the Christmas block. I don't, obviously there's many things that these pros are so impressive for. And I think the ability to race cyclocross for so many days in a row is one of them. Like, fair play.
Yeah, but on the other side, I mean, talking about physically is quite clear, but mentally, I would say it's also should be tough. But also for you that you went there to get this experience is also kind of, I don't want to say refreshing because probably you were everything but refreshed by then, but at least something like, I don't know, revamp actually all this kind of passion that you have for cyclocross.
Yeah, exactly. It was awesome. And going there, I was talking before about going to race in Belgium by myself, and there going to Belgium to race with my friends. So fun. It was, I think, for us a bit like going on a holiday as a group of mates, even though, like you say, you're not super refreshed. And even though you get splashed with mud in the face the whole time, you don't come back like you've had a facial. You feel about 15 years older.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's to be a bit delusional to go and do these races as a mid-30s amateur. You have to be like, I'm just going to give it a go, whatever.
Of course.
But for me, like I said, it's like I have the opportunity to experience this sport that I love so much at the very top level. Of course, I'm going to try.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, as they say. It's for sure.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter to me if I come last or if I come 50th or whatever. I just want to be there and experience it. It's so good. And, don't get me wrong. I trained quite hard to be as fit as I could for this trip and enjoy it, because being fit is part of enjoying it and having a good race. But other than that, like, you can't take it too seriously when you're the level that me and my friends are. You just go there for the experience, and it just like feels so lucky that we get to do that.
Yeah, and actually, maybe if we can make, I don't like comparisons, but in this case I have to say it. You were talking about yourself being in Belgium and racing by yourself in a previous, I would say, a previous period of your life, and then do it now with your friends and have fun, and maybe taking a bit lighter than before, right? It doesn't mean that you're getting better results when you're putting it hard and whatever than the other time that you're taking it a bit easier, if you think, because also they're also having this kind of being lighter in your head and taking these kind of races as an experience more than just a competition could help you out.
Yeah, and actually, I think probably I raced much better this year than I raced when I was trying as hard as I could. Fun is fast is what they say, and it's true.
That's true. Absolutely. That's true. I need to talk actually a tiny bit. I have so many topics that I want to talk about, but I don't want to make this episode 700 hours long. But I want to ask you, differences. You talked about actually the Belgian races, and it seems like you actually went into a bunch of different levels of competitiveness. From the UCI to the local. And talking about actually also events in UK. Can you just point out or name a couple of differences? I think it's still a lot of fun from the side and from the inside the track, but also how is it?
Yeah, I think cyclocross in the UK is a bit too serious for what it is. I think you have to embrace just how dumb cyclocross is. And I feel that sometimes in the UK, we're not that good at that. I think people take themselves a bit too seriously sometimes. And then obviously there's the spectators kind of aspect. So in Belgium, even at your local race, the people from nearby, they come and spend the day there. It's like a day out for them and a little party. In the UK, I think when you do your local league race, the people that are there are the people that are racing. It doesn't really attract your village person, even though it might be, happening in the local sports field or something. I think the people that come to watch the cyclocross are very few and far between. And then, you get the UCI level races in Belgium versus the UCI level races that you get here in the UK. Then it's the number of people that come and watch cyclocross in Belgium versus the number of people that come and watch cyclocross in Britain. You can't compare it. Now, cyclocross has an extremely rich history in Belgium. It's a massive thing in Flanders in particular. And it's on TV, on the public channels every weekend, We don't it's not the same culture in the UK. But yeah, I think we were walking around the course on the first and the second day being like, you would never get that in Britain. You would never run through this slurry pit. You would never go up this scaffold. Now, I'm not saying that we should not try to be safe, but I think there is a level of whatever-ness in Belgium that we don't really have in the UK. And I think I am quite to me a bit more when it's less serious.
Okay. This this makes a lot of sense, and also I can understand. I think at the end of the day, you were saying that cyclocross in Belgium is kind of a national sport. Nothing more and nothing less than that, right? And I think it's because, my opinion, is that it was all built like this. What can you do in muddy winters, wet winters, or whatever? Just bring people out. How do you bring people out with the best thing that you have in Belgium apart from cyclocross? Beer.
Yeah.
So you create a party, a block party, basically, around the race. People like to ride bikes and then to drink.
Exactly. And you just sprinkle it with a bit of horrible techno. Ta-da!
I love the horrible techno in the tent of the cyclocross, I have to say. Yes. No, it's great. We were talking, and that's something that I want to actually touch base quickly on your first, how would you call it? Bicycle team, cyclocross team. The team Good Vibes. That's exactly what's for you cyclocross, we can say. Team Good Vibes. Going outside and having a good time.
Yeah, and I think... Okay, so just to explain what happened. At that point in time, I was making bike frames, steel frames, and I was racing cross with my friends. And then I decided I was going to try and make a little team, see what happens. It was kind of a marketing exercise for my frame building business, as much as it was just bringing people together and bringing the good vibes to the cyclocross track. And so there were 4 of us racing, and we were all kind of living in the same places. So we would go to the same races together and stuff. And like I said, so it was 3 women and a man. And so Steve, bless him, had so much trackside encouragement when he was on after we had raced. He was also giving us some coaching, performance coaching and intervals and what have you. And I built the frames, and then that was that. And it was such an amazing thing to be able to do at this point in life, but also quite a transient thing, I suppose, because then, I moved on from the frame building, and in the COVID period, and everybody's life kind of changed quite a lot. So when the bike racing came back around, there wasn't really a place for that team anymore. It wasn't really sustainable to try and keep running it. So that was that. I do miss the days of Team Good Vibes Only, because those are some of my best friends. But they're still in my life, so I've got all the best bits. And I'm still racing the same bikes. That the first bike I ever made is one of my cross bikes that I still race now, and I know these guys are still riding their bikes as well. So I couldn't ask for more.
So basically for you, the frame building phase was just an excuse to build some cyclocross bikes. So basically the bikes that you like to ride.
No, I think
Okay.
that would be. I think
It's
that
too
would be a bit
simplified.
fair to say.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, definitely. Cyclocross was already a really big part of my life
Mm-hmm.
when I was a frame builder, and I made my first bike because I couldn't find a cross bike that was working for me. So
Makes sense.
I have quite a DIY attitude. So it's like, well, it doesn't exist, so I'm going to make it. And that was the beginning of that. And then, yeah, I guess it was a good way, I think, to promote my business and really express what Mercredi was about through that team. So that kind of was the it's tough, right? Because when you're running a team and making the bikes and so on, that doesn't leave that much time to actually ride your bike and
Yeah, I know
train and
what you
bike.
mean. I know it so much. Yes.
Yeah, it's difficult to marry up your passion and your job.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But then actually max
So,
speed arrived to your life, right? Now after a lot of time or whatever. And this is as I'm hearing from your words and your voice, it's a bunch of fun as well. I mean, it's
yeah,
an incredible bunch of people having a lot of fun.
Max Speed is amazing. I feel like I really found my home in cyclocross with them now. So it's there's Max Speed is kind of in between a club and a race team, I suppose. It is mostly around racing off-road, so cyclocross and cross-country mountain biking and so on. The team is in majority based around the southwest of England where I am. But there's people kind of all over the country. And crucially for me, there's people of all ages. The youngest rider, she's 9 years old. She's called Margot.
Oh.
And then I think our oldest rider is in her 60s, and it's Tracy. And, Margot is just kind of getting to bike racing. Tracy, she used to be a master world champion. Like, it's so good. And I think one of the things that I missed over the years is this kind of family of people like me, people with a real job and, that are really passionate about the sport, but also know that, at the end of the day, we still have to go to work on Monday.
Yes.
And so, train hard, race hard, but mostly have fun. Don't take it too seriously. I absolutely love it. And I think the mix of ages and the fact that there's quite a lot of women in the team, and especially, women my age or women a bit older than me, it just goes to show me that there's still life in the old horse yet. I can carry on. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
When quite a lot of other people, other women in my age group are probably busy doing other stuff, like raising families and so on. I'm still so obsessed with cyclocross and being together with other people that are in the same mindset. I'm like, there's many ways to live a life, and that is one of them, and it's okay.
That's nice. But all the design, all the visual identities or whatever of the team, is it yours or?
No,
Because
so
I love it, I have
Scotty,
to say. So
it's so good.
It's incredible. I mean,
I love it.
I was actually mentioning exactly your T-shirt. People, you don't see it, so I'm gonna probably show it in a certain point. But it's incredible. It's super nice. I love the style.
Yeah, I love it too. So Scotty Chalmers started the team 7 years ago or something like that. And Team Orange, got the polka dots, got the orange. We do look really good, I think.
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely. And that's actually a good point from a designer. I mean, if you say that actually looks good and actually you are happy to wear I would say, yes, the kit and everything from that, it's a great point. It's nice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just that I'm happy to wear it. I'm really proud. Like, I'm really proud to rep it. Like, it's so aligned with where my mind is at with bike racing. So yeah, go Max Speed.
That's perfect. But then actually now the season is over, right? So what else? I don't know, there is actually some spring cyclocross or whatever it is in the plan, or, I mean, is it really only cyclocross? Is it really only a winter sport, or we can squeeze something more out of it, or no mud, no fun.
Yeah, I guess, yes. There's, in many places, you've got summer series, sometimes you've got spring ones. I don't think we really have consistent summer events where I'm at the moment. But in many places, yeah, you can race in the summer. It is a bit different because it's not always quite muddy, or, it's quite dusty, usually quite fast. And for me, the fact that the season is only a few months long is actually great because I get easily distracted. It's good to have, this finite amount of focus and bike racing, and I just give everything that I have at it in that period of time, and then it's over. I can focus on something else and get really into whatever, running or downhill mountain biking, what have you. And then comes this like end of spring, beginning of summer. I'm like, oh, I miss cyclocross. Cool. Time to start getting ready.
Absolutely. I have the last question, and this is a question that I asked to all my guests in the Over the Shoulder. And please feel free to use your megaphone. It's called megaphone, right? Speaker,
Yeah.
whatever, to express it. Why do you love cyclocross?
This is a slightly deeper question than I anticipated.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, well, like I said it before, cyclocross is my chosen family, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's as mental and as serious as I am. It's very playful. It's full of friends. I just couldn't imagine a better way to spend my weekends.
That's incredible. That's true.
Yeah, a bit cheesy, but yeah, I love it.
That's nice.
I think if anyone who's listening to this podcast hasn't already given cyclocross a go, like, don't be shy. Just try it out. What's the worst that can happen? I guess the worst that can happen is you become obsessed, and 10 years later, you just can't stop talking about it. I don't think that's too bad.
Absolutely. That's why we're here. I mean, that's exactly the reason why we're here. That's perfect.
Yeah. Do you know what? I made some notes actually of stuff that I wanted to talk about, and I think I talked about everything. Very, very prepared. I think, I guess if I cyclocross auntie, everyone who's listening, like I said, if you're feeling like, if you ever thought, oh, maybe I should give cyclocross a go, just do it. And then just find a bunch of friends and go and ride in the park on a Wednesday morning. And that's like making friends and playing on your bicycle. That's really what cyclocross is all about, especially for us, amateurs.
Yeah.
You just have to have fun.
Yeah. And actually said by an amateur that went actually racing a World Cup UCI race. I mean, that's already something, isn't it?
Yeah, not a World Cup, but yeah.
Sorry. It was a super prestige, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Okay, super prestige, yes.
Maybe we need to start naming the races in these kind of really shiny ways in the UK.
Yeah. That's true.
The Western Mega League.
Yeah, it sounds like for people that are into football. I mean, the best leagues, they're all called in this super weird way, Premier League, Serie A, that means A League. And then you have the Super League, whatever. It's a race. It's
How would you call your cross race if you had one?
That's an amazing question. The Goofy Backyard League, I would say. So that actually everybody's... I have a concept. It just came out into my mind right now. Basically, you get a bunch of people that that like cyclocross, and then you invite them to organize a cyclocross kind of track in their backyard, in their physical backyard. And encouraging everybody to do the craziest thing on the bike. So it could be something like super sharp corners, or just, jumping, having to... Because that's also something that happens in cyclocross from time to time. Having to wash your bike quickly before... every second lap, or something stupid like this. So maybe this could be an idea.
Do you know the I completely forgot to mention one part of cyclocross. Like, there's two things that happened in cyclocross for me that also kind of cemented my love for it. And the first one is we had this underground, unofficial racing in London called Incredibly Cross, where we would, so some friends of mine organized it, and you were told kind of it's going to be in southwest London, and then on the day or the day before you got told where it actually was.
Okay.
And it was in the evening, and then you were doing the circuit, and it was like really DIY, under the radar kind of thing. You know, you don't get any points, you don't get nothing, you just get like a really fun evening with your friends. And that was, I absolutely loved that. And then because that was not very serious, so it wasn't super intimidating. We like sometimes you'd have to be dressed up for Halloween or whatever.
Nice.
You know, it was in random parks in London, unsanctioned, really good fun. And then there was the single speed. You spoke with Gosso, didn't you?
Yes,
there was
I did.
The single speed European Championships in Coxida.
Yeah.
Which he won and I won.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, that was super fun. And it's what you're describing, right? Single speed cyclocross is exactly that. It's like really stupid courses put together by some lunatics. You start, you have to fetch your bike from up in a tree or something. And
yes.
Then you have to go through the tent and drink some shots and whatever. Someone might be racing the other way around on the circuit. And it's just, yeah, it's a circus. I love it.
Absolutely. That's absolutely what I love, actually. That I would love actually to establish here. Also because you were talking about taking cyclocross too serious. Don't want to talk bad on the place where I live and I work, but that's exactly what happens here in Zurich. Everything in sports needs to be taken 155% serious. And having a race or a circuit like this, where just you have to go there and be yourself, come as you are and do whatever you want, that's actually what I like.
I know, right? And it's like we live in a time where we're encouraged to maximize everything. Like, you have a hobby, turn it into a side hustle, start making money from it, whatever. Like, just don't do that to yourself.
No.
If you enjoy something, just enjoy it. Don't try to make it. We don't have to always get better and always take it more seriously. It's fine to just do it just because.
Absolutely. Like I usually do with the BroomWagon podcast. That's exactly what I like. Adeline, thanks a lot for our chat. It was just incredible inspiration.
It was so nice to be able to chat. And I'm probably not going to remember anything that we said, which is the sign of a good conversation.
Absolutely.
Just went in every direction. And yeah, hopefully learned a thing or two about cyclocross along the way. But it's only one woman's experience.
No, that's perfect. It was perfect. No, it was really inspiring, and actually having this point of view on go out, have some fun, don't take yourself super seriously. And of course, if you're supporting somebody from the side of the track, maybe take yourself super seriously, because that's what people need to be supported with. But apart from that, just go out, ride your bike, and try to be shiny and colorful.
Yeah, exactly. Just have fun. That's
perfect. Adeline, thanks a lot.
See you later, Stefano.
Ciao. I truly believe I need a megaphone now. How cool is that? How cool is that? Yelling at your peers, to everybody in the pits or from the pits or the side of the circuit, and just saying some crazy things just to say and to cheer up to people that are really racing their butt off into the muddy circuit track that is a cyclocross mud pit. How did you like this story? This is super incredible. Probably next Christmas, racing or just going there riding or just going there being a spectator, I need to go to Belgium to enjoy a bit of the vibes of the cyclocross winter season in Belgium or close by in the Netherlands. Adeline, it was just incredible to have you here. People, I think that actually now you got the same spirit that all of us have in terms of cyclocross. It's just pure fun with friends, with people that are gonna become your friends. It's just super, super, super cool. Thanks a lot again, Adeline. It was super nice. And thanks a lot, Hunt, for supporting the Over the Shoulder podcast. It gives me so much joy, really. Apart from everything, I think that people need to value brands or people behind the brands that are giving other people joy and passion and fun and a huge smile in the face when they're talking about, these kind of cool things that are making our lives a bit more sparkling. Again, thanks a lot, Hunt Wheels, and everybody of you, you know already what you have to do if you're in the market for new wheels. Down in the description below, there is a link where you can find everything you want about Hunt. And also, if you want to talk to me, or if you want to talk to the BroomWagon Podcast, that is still me, go to the BroomWagon Podcast on Instagram, or Calamaro CC again on the Instagram. I actually jumped 1 week, but next week is gonna be again Over the Shoulder, hopefully, week. Bye, everybody.